I was scammed on eBay and I was refused my insurance claim. And I had two choices: accept it or fight. I chose to fight. So those of you that have been following my story for the last week maybe, I got scammed on eBay. Customer got these sent to them, packed meticulously, perfectly. I've sent speakers for the last 5-6 years exactly the same way, always, never had an issue. These are listed on a Sunday, bought on a Monday and delivered on a Tuesday. What service is that? Fantastic. However, I get the message come through. The message states blah blah blah, fantastically packaged, definitely something to do with the courier, using all the right keywords they were, knowing that I could make a claim and they wouldn't feel so bad that I was able to make a claim while they got what they want for free, saying they were smashed and unusable. And he sent me photos of them. But the fronts, which I didn't realise at the time, had all been screwed off. He sent me pictures of, I'll put some up, he sent me pictures of things like this and that. And on the picture, I just assumed that they'd all like smashed out, and I was like, oh dear, that is a problem. Whatever, investigated, accepted the return, started my insurance progress, started the process with the insurance company. Well, Packlink refused my claim. They said that any electricals with an antiquity of 20 years old are uncovered. Can't claim for them. And anything with 50 years of antiquity. Now, even though antique is defined by 100 years or more, whatever, Packlink refused my claim. I went further. I said I want to speak to a manager, head manager, somebody in charge, basically. I managed to get through to somebody in charge, and they just reiterated the same thing. They also referred back to a previous case where they said, and on this previous case, we did actually pay you out and said that was going to be a kind gesture. A kind gesture? You're the one smashing my parcels up. I'm packing them properly, and your courier's just drop kicking them down the warehouse. And then you want to put the blame onto us. So they paid out for one before. I think it was, I can't remember what it was now, some tray thing. They smashed it to pieces. They paid out, but they said, on this case, we're going to do a gesture of goodwill and pay you out. What do you mean gesture of goodwill? Pay for the insurance. Anyway. So they refused. So I was like, well, I'm not having that. I'm going to go speak to eBay. So I waited for my parcel to come back. Obviously, I was doing the claim while I was waiting for the parcel to come back, because why not? Just get it moving. Get the full process moving. And then they arrived. They finally arrived, and I had a look at the speakers. I opened them up, and they was both like this. The fronts were screwed on. They were both like that. So I'm looking at the pictures and I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute. That one was like that. So in order to have done that, you've unscrewed it and then screwed it back on for delivery. You've been tampering with these speakers, sir. And I forget to mention that he told me in the messages that he was an audio engineer or audio technician, something like that, works with audio for a living or something. So he's opened them up, he's unscrewed them, done what he wanted to do inside, screwed them back on and sent them back. So bearing in mind, this chap had been messaging me all the time about this thing, constant replies, constant messaging, constant replies, constant messaging. As soon as I sent him a message saying, sir, I'm just wondering if you could clarify for me why the pictures you sent me were unscrewed, and yet the item I've received back, they're all screwed back on. I need some clarification, please. Nothing. Ghost. Still haven't heard back from him. Ghost. So I spoke to eBay. I went on a live stream and rung eBay. And I said to them, this has obviously been tampered with. If I receive something broken, the last thing I'm going to do... And somebody actually said this in a comment. They were like, well, maybe he received them, had a look to see if he could fix them or not, and then screwed them back on. Tough. Don't be tinkering, don't be tampering. Because if I got them, I'm going to throw them back into the box. I'm not even going to touch them. And you can see, and if what he says is true, he reckons that these snapped off in the back, just like this one. So you can hear it rattling around in there, and you can obviously see because it damages this, because it snapped off of that. That's what's on the back of this comb. And then it smashes it even more. You see how that is there? Just pushes it back out again. So he knew they were broken. Why are you unscrewing them for? Especially if you're an audio engineer, because he even said, and I know for a fact that that's what's happened to them. Whatever, he said. I said to eBay, he's tampered with them. It's tampered. I don't feel confident that what's happened is happened. Audio engineer, he's unscrewed them and screwed them back on, and he told me that he's tried to find a part for these, but he couldn't because they're really hard to find, yet the part that was broken on mine happens to be the one that was broken that he couldn't find. Yeah, I wasn't keen, so I filed a complaint with eBay. And eBay took 4 or 5 days to investigate. It was an hour on the phone, but it was a live stream, so it's fine, it was worthwhile. And 4 or 5 days to investigate. And I have now finally had my result come through. And the result is, I won my case. My case has been won. I'm not out of pocket anymore. However, of course, eBay refunded the buyer as well. So it's come out of eBay's pocket. But I kind of half expected that in the end, you know. I kind of half expected that. So this buyer's managed to get what he wants and everything's happy. Obviously, I've blocked him now. I didn't block him until the case was over. But there's people out there that will try things. And I mentioned to people, I said, there's loads of ways you can cover yourself. As long as you know the ins and the outs of the situation and you've been forthcoming and you've been as within the lines as you're supposed to be, there are ways to win. There's multiple ways. Just because one place says no, doesn't mean it's a no. Just because another place says no, doesn't mean that's a no. You know, I turned a no. By the way, I got my postage back from Packlink. They sent me my £6 back, whatever it was. Packlink said no. I then turned the no into a no with postage back. eBay said no. I then turned the no into, okay, you can have the full refund and the customer's going to get refunded too. So you've got to fight your case sometimes. Don't just accept the first answer. Go higher, go higher, go higher. If you get a case closed, appeal, especially if you're in the right. Don't try and push your luck if you're in the wrong, obviously, because it's pointless. It's a waste of time. Truths will always be found. Falses will always be highlighted. This geezer was definitely up to a bit of skullduggery, and it worked out for him, kind of. Obviously, he's going to have a mark on his account now, hopefully. But there we go. There's the result of the Denon case. Should we have a look at some sales? So, of course, now that's done, I'll be selling the speakers down for parts. I'll be breaking it down. But annoyingly, guess what? Sold some more speakers. Let's see if we have the same issue again, shall we? Right, so over on eBay, we have sold for £11.98 the cloud lamp. Now, I'm hoping that mark was on the listing. If not, I am going to have to do some scrubbing. Yeah, it's on the listing, but I'm still going to scrub it off anyway. Why not? Under promise and over deliver. Beautiful. I can't remember what I paid. I think it was £5 into £2.50 from a charity shop. So £11.98 is just beautiful, isn't it? £8.09 all in is this Casio FX83 GT scientific calculator, good for like GCSEs and all that kind of stuff. Vitor has actually picked this up and says, hello Ricky, long time viewer. Happy to accept the offer and help your business. Take care. I really appreciate that, man. I must have sent an offer out and you don't actually have control over who has the offer. You don't see it, you don't know. But I massively appreciate that, mate. Thank you for the pickup. £67.98. We've sold another speaker. Oh dear. We've got a sound bar now. This is a Sony one. Had this sitting around for ages and ages and ages. I'm selling it without a power lead, no nothing else. Could have got about 100, 110 if I had the power lead and remote control and stuff. I don't, so I'm not. Owes me nothing. I had this ages. Sat in my little corner. You know where a lot of my golf clubs sit and all my long things. Careful. Put them up in the corner, just let them rest there for a bit until I'm ready to list them. That's been there. Pillar to post, pillar to post, pillar to post. And for £23 all in, I'll just show you one. We've sold some Sony speakers. The other half of the Sony mini display that I sold yesterday that I mentioned that the chap was trying to get them and I said I caved and took the offer. I've done it. Why not? So, again, I'm packing those with an inch of its life and hopefully, well, I know they'll get there safe. Somebody will tamper with them if not. And then these are not really worth tampering with. The Denons are, the Mission, but these are not really worth tampering with. So they'll probably just get there and be fine. And that's all for eBay. Anything over on Vinted? No, nothing on Vinted. So we've had the conclusion of the speakers and a few sales. Massively appreciate you for watching. Remember, don't just accept no for an answer. Fight, fight, fight. You have protections and you have rights in this world. So use them or lose them. Take care, like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully we get a good car boot this weekend. Weather's drizzly, but doesn't mean too much, does it?